Right now, somewhere in Iowa, a farm wife is preparing her 14th field meal of the harvest season. That's 14 complete dinners, main dish, sides, dessert, drinks, for a crew that might be 4 people or might be 12, depending on who shows up. She's using disposable pans because 3 years ago, she lost her favorite casserole dish in a field. She's making enough food to feed what could be 15 adults, but she won't know the final count until 6:30 p.m., when her husband finally answers his phone. 4 pounds of chicken, 2 pans of lasagna. Enough to fuel 16-hour workdays, 7 days a week, for months. This is the invisible operation that makes American Harvest possible. A massive meal production system that rivals commercial kitchens run by farm families with household equipment. The reality of feeding 50-plus people daily during harvest is more complex and impressive than most people imagine. While combines dominate every harvest photo and video you've ever seen, there's an equally critical operation happening that nobody talks about: the meal service. And it's not just about cooking, it's about running a production facility that operates for 7 straight months. Harvest season runs from May through November. 7 months of continuous feeding operations. Custom harvest crews travel approximately 2,500 kilometers from Texas all the way to Montana and North Dakota, following the ripening crops. And approximately 800 of these custom harvest crews are currently operating across the United States right now. Here's the scale we're talking about. Crews range anywhere from 4 to 14 people per meal, with some larger operations feeding more than 50 people daily. These workers are burning between 2,400 and 3,000 calories during typical 8 to 12-hour shifts. But here's the thing. Harvest doesn't run 8 to 12 hours. These crews work 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's 16 to 17-hour days, every single day. And every meal requires complete service. You can't just throw together sandwiches and call it done. We're talking main dish, salad, vegetable, bread, and dessert. Every time. So what you're about to see is the real logistics behind field meal planning, how farm families turn household kitchens into production operations, the evolution from traditional methods to modern mobile systems, and why this invisible work actually matters to harvest success. Drop a comment below if you've ever fed a harvest crew, or if you've been part of one that got fed. Let's start with what happens before a single potato gets peeled, the planning nightmare that keeps farm cooks up at night. Imagine running a restaurant where you never know how many customers are coming. Not approximately, not within a range. You literally find out the head count about 30 minutes before service. That's harvest meal planning. Farm families prepare meals for anywhere from 4 to 14 people, depending on who shows up that particular day. And remember those calorie numbers? Workers doing physical labor need 2,400 to 3,000 calories during standard shifts. But harvest runs nearly twice that long. So you're not just feeding people, you're fueling marathon work days. Here's what that looks like in actual quantities. 4 pounds of chicken feeds approximately 15 people for a single meal. Lasagna? You need 2 full pans. Spaghetti? Same thing. 2 pans for about 15 people. And that's if everyone eats a normal amount. But here's where it gets complicated. One hired hand might eat like a bird. Another one? He'll consume enough for 3 adults. One farm wife from Saskatchewan described the daily guessing game. How many am I feeding? Is the hired man who eats for 3 coming? Will my 8-year-old nephew eat like a bird or 3 adults? Does this have gluten for my celiac nephew? Where are we even eating? Did they move fields? She described feeling physical anxiety from the constant last-minute changes. And this isn't a one-time thing. It's every single day for 7 months. So what's the solution? The smart ones keep harvest journals. Some farm wives have been tracking meal data for nearly a decade. They write down everything. How many pounds of pork for pulled pork sandwiches? Does it take 1 pan of lasagna or 2? These notebooks become essential reference guides that get passed down through seasons. And here's something nobody expects. Despite working 16-hour days doing physical labor, farmers actually complain about gaining weight during harvest season. Why? because of the quality and quantity of these field meals. You're eating restaurant-quality food multiple times a day, and you're eating a lot of it. Once you've figured out the quantities, you face the next challenge: actually cooking restaurant-level volumes in a household kitchen. Think about what it takes to prepare meals for 15 people in your home kitchen. Now imagine doing that multiple times a day, every day for 7 months. Your kitchen becomes a commercial production facility. Some families have gotten creative with solutions. They'll buy old RVs to use as mobile meal stations. These aren't fancy, just old recreational vehicles that hold refrigeration for Gatorade and condiments, storage space, and a place to serve from. It keeps the mess out of the family vehicles and provides a dedicated space for the operation. For context, the large crew trailers that house workers sleep 6 people each and include a washer and dryer, refrigerator, microwave, 2 bathrooms, and central heat and air. These are self-contained living units that move from state to state. The cooking itself? Farm families often rotate duties every 3 days to share the massive workload. Because make no mistake, this is massive work. You're preparing main dish, salad, vegetable, bread, and dessert every single time. And experienced cooks have learned some hard lessons. They use disposable pans now. They use slow cooker liners. They store all their supplies in laundry baskets for easy transport. Why? Because they've spent years losing dishes in fields, breaking casserole containers on rough roads, and dealing with the chaos of mobile meal service. One farm wife from Illinois shared her disaster day. She arrived home to discover the bread machine delay timer didn't work. No rolls. Mysterious ingredient disappearance from the cabinet meant no main dish. And the leftover pumpkin cupcakes she'd saved? Eaten by her husband. No dessert. She called it Plan B, Garden and Google. Another time, snow hit mid-afternoon and the crew quit early. She dutifully asked if she should still make dinner. Yes, we're going to try again. So she and her daughter destroyed the kitchen preparing a full meal. Then the call came. Forget dinner. We'll just eat when we get home. Her husband came in, ate the meal anyway, and did the dishes. She wrote, "Good man, good man." Here's a detail most people never think about. Before every harvest season begins, farm families stock each combine and grain cart with baby wipes, hand sanitizer, and improvised hand washing stations. Some use laundry soap dispensers mounted in strategic locations, because when you're eating an equipment worth $300,000 to $500,000, you still need basic hygiene. But even perfect planning and kitchen setup can't protect you from the wild unpredictability of harvest timing. Hit that like button if you're enjoying this look behind the scenes. There's a phrase in farming, just fill the trucks. Sounds simple, right? Should take maybe 20 minutes. In reality, it can mean anywhere from 20 minutes to 8 hours. And this drives meal planning absolutely crazy. Under perfect conditions, and I mean perfect, harvest crews can combine 9 acres of soybeans per hour. Corn, 7 acres per hour. But perfect conditions are rare. Weather changes, equipment breaks, fields have wet spots, grain moisture varies. Remember those work hours? 5 a.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. That's the standard harvest day, 16 to 17 hours. And these work weeks commonly reach more than 60 hours in agriculture. There's no weekend during harvest, no days off when the weather's right. One farm family described sitting down to dinner together at 10:30 p.m. on a Sunday night. Not because they wanted to eat late, because they'd spent all day harvesting soybeans and moving equipment ahead of a massive storm rolling in overnight. That's harvest reality. This timing chaos has forced some families to develop flexible solutions. They call them white sack meals, grab-and-go items that can feed anywhere from 4 to 10 workers at a moment's notice. These meals adapt to the unpredictable schedule that defines harvest. Wanda Millard shared her experience after 11 years of feeding harvest crews. Her advice? Keep meals simple because fancy doesn't work out in the field. She and her mother-in-law, Penny, had planned that Penny would handle lunches and Wanda would do supper. Great plan, right? Except field work started late one day, so the crew ate lunch before heading out. By season's end, Wanda wrote, Our well-thought-out plan didn't pan out very well. The Hebert family from Saskatchewan came up with another solution. Teresa Hebert had 2 young kids, and the chilly evenings made delivering meals from vehicles really difficult. So they bought an old RV from her brother. It holds lawn chairs, a fridge with condiments and Gatorade, paper plates, and a first aid kit. She said it definitely made it a lot easier, and it kept the mess out of our vehicles. And remember, these custom harvest crews are traveling continuously for those 7 months. May through November, moving from Texas to Montana and North Dakota. That's approximately 2,500 kilometers one way. They're not just changing fields, they're changing states, time zones, and weather patterns. All this complexity has one surprising upside that most people don't know about. Here's something the IRS actually encourages. Farmers can deduct 100% of crew meal costs as business expenses when the meals are provided on site for the convenience of the employer. 100%. Why does the IRS allow this? Because crews literally don't have time to drive into town. When you're working 16-hour days and every hour of good weather matters, stopping for restaurant meals would waste time that harvest crews can't afford to lose. The meals aren't a perk, they're a business necessity. Let's put this in context. Approximately 800 custom harvest crews currently operate across the United States. Large operations run 7 to 12 combines, and each one of those machines is worth $300,000 to $500,000. Add in the grain carts, grain trucks, and crew trailers, and you're looking at multi-million-dollar operations. Mid to large custom harvesters run anywhere from 4 to 12 combines per crew. They're moving massive amounts of equipment across multiple states, coordinating logistics that would make shipping companies nervous. So when a farm family spends hours destroying their kitchen to prepare 2 pans of lasagna for an uncertain head count, that's not just generosity. That's running an essential business operation that keeps millions of dollars worth of equipment moving and prevents harvest windows from closing. The practical reality is simple. Without field meals, harvest stops, equipment sits idle, weather windows close, crops lose quality. The invisible meal operation isn't supplementary to harvest, it's central to it. When you add it all up, the invisible meal operation reveals something remarkable about how modern farming actually works. Remember that farm wife preparing her 14th field meal with disposable pans and an uncertain head count? She's not just making dinner, she's running a logistical operation that feeds more than 50 people daily for 7 months straight. And here's what most people don't realize. She's often working longer hours than the harvest crew itself. Think about the evolution. Farming has gone from traditional picnic lunches delivered to the field to mobile RV meal stations, rotating cooking schedules every 3 days, sophisticated planning systems tracked in journals for nearly a decade. Even the most invisible parts of farming have professionalized into serious operations. This isn't the romanticized farm life you see in movies. This is military-level logistics meeting household equipment. This is journal-tracked meal quantities, meeting last-minute chaos. This is destroyed kitchens meeting 10:30 p.m. family dinners racing against weather forecasts. Everyone focuses on the impressive numbers. Combines harvesting 9 acres of soybeans per hour. Equipment worth $500,000. Crews working 60-plus hour weeks. But the real story? It's the farm families keeping those crews fed. Without the invisible army preparing 2-pan lasagnas, stocking combines with baby wipes, and pivoting when bread machines fail, none of those impressive harvest statistics would be possible. The combines would sit idle. The crews would waste hours. The harvest windows would close. Here's your final number. Approximately 800 custom harvest crews travel 2,500 kilometers across America every season. And every single one of them depends on someone, usually a farm wife juggling kids and parts runs and equipment breakdowns, figuring out whether 4 pounds of chicken or 2 pans of spaghetti will feed today's unpredictable head count. That's the operation that actually makes harvest possible. Subscribe, Thanks.